Hi, and welcome to Buddhism 101. Okay, for a review, so far we have covered the Four Noble Truths, and we have covered the Eightfold Path. This video is going to look at the 5 precepts very quickly. So, the 5 precepts. So, what are the 5 precepts? The 5 precepts are basically the Buddhist, quote-unquote, 10 Commandments. These are basically rules of behavior. These are things that you cannot do. So the 5 precepts are often written and recited as a vow, repeated regularly by Buddhists. The resuscitation or the resuscitation. How you recite it goes like this. I can't think of the word I'm looking for right now, but anyway, I undertake the precept to refrain from destroying living creatures. I undertake the precept to refrain from taking that which is not given. I undertake the precept to refrain from sexual misconduct. I undertake the precept to refrain from incorrect speech. I undertake the precept to refrain from intoxicating drinks and drugs which lead to carelessness. These are often shorthanded to say no killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct, no lying, and no drinking. But this is vastly oversimplifying things. So the first precept is to refrain from destroying living creatures. This is a lot harder than it may appear at first. At first glance, you are probably thinking it matches up with the biblical "thou shalt not kill." Actually, the biblical commandment more correctly translates to "thou shalt not murder," and really only applies to humans. The first precept, however, applies to all living creatures. All life is valuable. One very famous modern-day Buddhist teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh, describes the first precept as, aware of the suffering caused by the destruction of life, I vow to cultivate compassion and learn ways to protect the lives of people, animals, plants, and minerals. I am determined not to kill, not to let others kill, and not to condone any act of killing in the world, in my thinking and in my way of life. Take some time and think this one through for yourself. There's a lot more to this than just skipping the steak dinner or not going on a rampage to kill your coworkers. This precept offers or covers supporting wars, capital punishment, or even supporting governments that condone these things. Yes, the bottom line is that some Buddhists are vegetarian, and most are usually pacifists. The second precept is not to take that which is not given. So stealing is a bad thing. But living in a modern civilized society, we already know that. But just as with the first precept, there's more to it than it appears at first glance. Remember that one of the steps on the Eightfold Path was right livelihood. This means not making a living taking or exploiting that which is not yours. There's no cheating or stealing allowed either. Being lazy at work is often a form of stealing. And in that aspect, the way it's a form of stealing is that you are taking the time away from your job that you are being paid for. This also means that Buddhists encourage charitable giving. Give to the poor, the needy, and the sick. Give your money, give your time, and give as much as you can. You don't have to give everything you own, but selfishness and greed are really bad. So Thich Nhat Hanh says, aware of the suffering caused by exploitation, social injustice, stealing, and oppression, I vow to cultivate loving kindness and learn ways to work for the well-being of people, animals, plants, and minerals. I vow to practice generosity by sharing my time, energy, and material resources with those who are in real need. I am determined not to steal and not to possess anything that should belong to others. I will respect the property of others, but I will prevent others from profiting from human suffering or the suffering of other species on Earth. So as you can see, there's a lot more to this than just not stealing. The third precept is no sexual misconduct. How do you define misconduct? That depends on where you live. Social rules are different from country to country, region to region, and what's considered misconduct in America might be completely appropriate elsewhere in the world. That doesn't matter. The real problem here is suffering. If something is inappropriate to the society you're in, then it needs to be avoided. Self-restraint is crucial to a Buddhist. Remember the Eightfold Path again. Right effort, right action, and right mindfulness all deal with self-control and restraint. So what does Thich Nhat Hanh have to say? Aware of the suffering caused by sexual misconduct, I vow to cultivate responsibility and learn ways to protect the safety and integrity of individuals, couples, families, and society. I am determined not to engage in sexual relations without love and a long-term commitment. To preserve the happiness of myself and others, I am determined to respect my commitments and the commitments of others. I will do everything in my power to protect children from sexual abuse and to prevent couples and families from being broken by sexual misconduct. He seems to enhance the importance of responsibility and commitment beyond the simple sexual misdeeds. There's definitely an emphasis on commitment. Monogamous relationships and marriages are strongly advocated. So the fourth precept is to refrain from incorrect speech. So right speech, if you remember, was a step on the Eightfold Path all by itself. Not only is right speech promoted and valued with Buddhists, but here wrong speech is singled out for special negative treatment. We all know how damaging our words can be. Buddhism is all about seeking truth, whatever that may be. And falsehoods work against that goal, often causing suffering in the process. Our words are powerful, and that's really all that needs to be said. Even Thich Nhat Hanh had little to really add to this precept. In his words, he says, aware of the suffering caused by unmindful speech and the inability to listen to others, I vow to cultivate loving speech and deep listening in order to bring joy and happiness to others and relieve others of their suffering. Knowing that words can create happiness or suffering, I vow to learn to speak truthfully, with words that inspire self-confidence, joy, and hope. I am determined not to spread news that I do not know to be certain, and not to criticize or condemn things of which I am not sure. I will refrain from uttering words that can cause division or discord, or that can cause the family or community to break. I will make all efforts to reconcile and resolve all conflicts, however small. That's not much I can add to that. Basically, lying is bad. The fifth precept. Yay, the fifth precept. Okay, really quickly. The last is to avoid intoxicants. Okay. This includes drugs, this includes alcohol, it also includes smoking, coffee, caffeine, and other stimulants. Why? They affect your state of mind. And Buddhism is all about the mind. So, Thich Nhat Hanh also includes foods, certain TV programs, magazines, books, films, and conversations. And he also suggests that proper diet is good for all of society. So, that is the 5 precepts. So, this basically almost is the end of Buddhism 101. I wanted to show you a quick little thing, how to make a mala, and then I would move on to Buddhism 202 because that's more advanced. Well, in my mind, it's more advanced. So, yeah, I will see you back here in a second.